And we're talking about it at individual level or at system level, including at government level. Right? So how we go about our work, this is very important in terms of our guidance as brand. We have a four-step process. First, four-step process in our resilient framework. First is the context. Okay? Context is very important in terms of when you're trying to address resilience. Whose resilience are you addressing? See? What we are trying to avoid is, yes, I know in Ibarra this solution works. And then you just pick it and take it to, yeah. The circumstances are different. So it's very, very important in terms of designing innovations or interventions for resilience that you really understand the context. Who are you addressing? What is the challenge? Where is this challenge you're trying to, address? And when? Timeliness is a factor. Okay? So we spend, this is really more, I would say, our objective one area, and we spent a lot of time doing this. Okay? Another key factor in objective one is step 2, where we now tease out, given the community consultations we do, we tease out what are the resilience dimensions. What are those key areas? And I'll show you an example later on. What are those key areas that are causing challenges or that are strengthening people in terms of the shocks and stresses that they encounter on a day-to-day basis or on a seasonal basis or whenever this happens? Okay? So this is the next step that we look at. What makes people vulnerable? What are the strategies they are using to really deal with the situation that they have? Because people are surviving. Okay? Yeah. So we cannot assume that Ram has come and we have come with the hottest and greatest idea. These people have been doing nothing. No. They have been doing something. And if it is positive, let us enhance it. So stage 3 is the resilience interventions. Okay? Now that we understand the context, we know the key triggers, whether positive or negative, we can now start to look at what would be appropriate interventions to address the dimensions that we have come up with. And as again, I really do want to insist, the interventions may be technical, they may be IT, they may be an approach, they may be a policy. Okay? So for example, in Buduga, one of the things is they want to enforce the policy against child marriage. Okay? Yeah, so that would be one thing if they did it. And then with any good thing that you do, you must evaluate. So when we evaluate, and this is why it is a circle, when we evaluate, we find gaps. We go back and look at the context. Is there something we mixed? Is there something we overlooked? Is there something new that has developed? We are not the only players. So as we were developing our interventions, maybe someone else was also doing something, and now we see that maybe there is overlap or it is changing the circumstances that we are dealing with. So that circle is very, very important to us. And in all these 4 stages, documentation is important because we have to understand and document and share with our innovators what was the context. Okay? So MKITS become a very core part to all these 4 stages that we have. Right? So looking at them, okay, what are some of the issues that we're addressing? In the East Africa lab, we're looking at conflict, we're looking at climate change, and this is why the landslides and all that is important for us. Horn of Africa, okay, we are looking at droughts, and we're looking at chronic displacement. So that's the one that's based at Jima. In West Africa, they have a challenge with population growth and rapid urbanization, one of their big challenges. In fact, they're having a problem of where to plant their food for the people in the big cities. Okay? And then in South Africa, which has a very high incidence of HIV/AIDS, they're not looking at the disease itself per se, but they're looking at the effects of the disease in terms of people's livelihoods. Okay? So with that as a background, I'll just share a little bit of how we go about our innovations, the information, because then you can better capture what it is we're doing. One, as I mentioned, a critical stage in our resilience framework, that is step 3, is our intervention process with various resilience innovations. We take what we know about the resilience gap and try to address and translate it into intervention pathways. All right? And key in terms of what we are doing is we are looking for initiatives with the highest transformational potential. People have been doing very many things. Okay? What is that one thing, even a small thing, which really will create a lot of change? So this is the first thing that we look at. All right? Then the tools in terms of how we go about our intervention. As we have mentioned, one of our partners is Stanford University, and so we've got a lot of innovation design tools from them. And your 1.5-day training, the design thinking, and all the materials used to do that, that was from Stanford. All right? And this is important because Change Labs, which is based at Stanford, is actually a set of excellence in terms of how do you develop or how do you nurture large-scale transformational change. So this is very much in line with our objectives. And in summary, the various tools that we look at are enabling us to come up with highly scientific. Remember, our objective one is that we are going to be scientific in our approach, highly scientific, intense, but time-bound. So I'm sure for those who have gone through the 1.5 days, you're pretty surprised by what you were able to, or the solutions you were able to develop in the time that you were here. It's a fairly fast-paced process, which is key, but it's also very human-centered in terms of we really need to step in the shoes of the community that we are designing to. The other thing that's very important for us as we are developing our innovations is, of course, the background, which we get from step 1 and step 3. So this is very, very critical that you understand the resilience challenge that you're addressing so that your outcomes are in line with the resilience you're trying to nurture within the community. So as I promised here, for example, in terms of a background, this is what we had for Ghana last week. So their challenge is that their cities are growing and really growing. We were hosted by one of the campuses, which is they said, I think it's their Tamale their fourth largest city. Now you think, which is the fourth largest city in Uganda? Old Town, for that matter. Is it in Bali? Maybe in Bali? Yes. Now, here where we were, some of those roads, you cannot find them in Kampala. They were that good. Okay? But this is a place which is about 12 hours by bus from their capital city. You see? So really when they are talking about urbanization, it's a real challenge. And even in that place where they were, like I said, one of the key problems they have is that they are running out of land to plant food. Because everything now is being built out, factories, homes, and everything. So one of their big challenges is where will they get the food they have to buy? You may have the money, but nowhere to buy it from. Okay? So that's one of that was the area that we're in. So the dimensions there in terms of what is affecting the vulnerability of those communities there. Well, yeah, if you cannot plant your own food, it means you must have money to buy, because you can't survive on any other thing. Health, when you have big people together, big numbers of people together, we see the challenge we are having with typhoid in Kampala, okay? Partly it's because we have a lot of population. Security then also becomes an issue, okay? And security was looked at very broadly, including drugs, crime, and all these things. That's an issue. Infrastructure, of course, when you have very many people, you need a lot of infrastructure. Governance, human capital, and various. So through the community consultations that they had already done, we knew that this represented at a high level key areas that we needed to intervene in.